What is the origin of suffixing as to adjectives? I am spending 1 month in the US and it seems that everything is big ass, lame ass, and crazy ass. What is the purpose of modifying every adjective with ass? Is this an Americanism or some global trend that I have yet to notice? I don't watch television. Where did this phenomenon begin? Medicine before the disease. I have seen the relevant XKCD comic. Edit. I just found this from another e.say page. It does discuss the phenomenon but does not mention the origin. Is this phenomenon not new?
It may have begun as part of a few stock phrases, but now I would say as functions as a generic intensifier. Colloquial English has a lot of these, one might say in a slow, often making use of rude or vulgar words for added impact. One could as easily say fucking crazy, crazy as shit, crazy as hell, hella crazy, crazy as fuck, crazy as balls, or even combine them as balls as crazy.
A little poking around on Google and grams around gave stupid ass as the oldest usage of the form I could find, 1671. Which makes sense to me since it comes from comparing a person to the animal, literally a stupid ass. The other forms are, I think, just derived from that original usage of ass where other adjectives are substituted for the original stupid. In effect, ass becomes just a vulgar word for person.
Merriam-Webster says of adverb ass. Definition of ass: often vulgar, used as a postpositive intensive, especially with words of derogatory implication. Origin of ass first known use, circa 1920.
Don't know the origin, but it's been around a long time in Black American dialect. For example, Charles Mingus' composition "The Shoes of the Fisherman's Wife Are Some Jive Ass Slippers," from his 1972 album Let My Children Hear Music.
Elaborating on the accepted answer, here is McWhorter in Words on the Move. There is a big pot and there is a big ass pot, there is a lame excuse and a lame ass excuse. An initial temptation is to think this is simply a matter of profanity. However, that implies that, leaving aside the fact that one of them is rude, big pot and big ass pot have the same meaning. They don't apostrophe t. You can tell from really trying to imagine just any old adjective, any old time, quietly appended with ass. Even in the most foul-mouthed person you can imagine, notice how hard it is to imagine him saying, "I saw a gray ass squirrel." If you think about it, he'd say that only if he thought of squirrels of some other color as normal, such that the gray squirrel is a surprise. Gray ass squirrel comes with a backstory. Where I come from, squirrels are black, but when I got here, I looked out the window and saw a gray ass squirrel. Gray ass doesn't mean simply gray as uttered by a potty mouth, but counter-expectationally gray. But to remark on the pot being really big implies, in itself, that there was an expectation that it would not be. Words change, and ass was assigned a mission. A good guess is that it started with big ass, because in language as in so much else, things tend to start with the literal and drift into the abstract, and human beings can literally have large behinds. Then a big ass fellow jumped in and settled it once and for all. However, yes, it would have been fellow rather than guy, dude, or bro, because the counter-expectational ass floated beyond anatomical plausibility as far back as 1919, when someone was documented as getting angry when a silly ass barber shaved my neck. All manner of ass usages pop up well before 1950, an accent criticized as having lousy broad ass as, and familiar sounding locutions such as green ass, corporals, poor ass, southerners, and broke ass, a waiter. In all these cases, the point is that the quality in question draws attention. In narrating, we are creating a little movie. We need to focus the camera or the lights on what we deem worthy of note. We don't want to only show a waiter, but to remark that he was broke, since it isn't considered the norm for someone who works to be broke. A real camera could zero in on his frayed cuffs or show him hitching a ride home. In a grand old film noir, the character would not be written as actually stating, "I lack funds." Talking, we might designate the waiter as broke ass, he was working and all, but actually he didn't have any money. So we may say that ass is a counter-expectional intensifier, one that goes pretty far back, one that is maybe spreading its wings and moving around the world. I can't attest to be, but I have heard it used in Indian English, surprising, given its relative chastity.
If you want to support the channel, please consider subscribing.